Hello everybody and welcome back to another video for the day. We're going back in r/Tales from the front desk because customer service really is a wild bumpy ride, so we're just here to talk about it and stuff. So if you guys would like to be absolutely amazing, show your support and see more videos like this one in the near future, be sure to hit the like button, leave a comment down below to start up the wholesome internet discussions, and if you guys have not already, subscribe to the channel and turn on the notifications. And if by chance you do happen to work customer service, I'd love to hear a weird story down below. It just happened last night, a TLDR at the end. This is not hospitality, but I do work a front desk. If it does not belong, I will delete. First off, please no comments on the morality of my industry. We are either heroes or villains, depending on which side of the situation you're on. I've heard all of the reasons why we're evil and the reasons why we are necessary. It's a job. I work overnights for a good-sized tow company in a popular northwest city. I was in the truck for over 10 years. Now I'm in the office. I dispatch drivers, process paperwork, and help customers at the front counter when they come to get their vehicles. I should mention that we are the primary contractor for our city's police department, which means we respond when they want a vehicle towed for a parking infraction, a DUI, accident, stolen vehicle, etc. We also have contracts with private properties to remove improperly parked vehicles, but the police work is by far the largest percentage of our business. Being overnights, I see more than my fair share of DUIs and accident calls. While I have less parking infraction calls on my shift, being on graveyard, I also get more than my fair share of wackadoos. This is foreshadowing, by the way. Now, for the most part, people who come in are decent. They're not happy to have to pay money to get their car, but they usually understand that the police order the vehicle towed, so their ire is best aimed at the cops. Some actually admit that they made the mistake and chalk it up to a learning experience. Those are fancy multicolored unicorns with sprinkles. It's kind of a crapshoot, and I have a thick skin, so meh. On this particular evening, the shift previous to mine was busy, so I helped the desk at the clerk get caught up with his paperwork. There were also a lot of parking infractions from some event downtown, so I knew the beginning of my shift would see some of these folks coming in to get their cars. And sure enough, I did, and they were mostly civil, but this one woman, she is no more than 30 and is giving off strong Karen vibes. She explains that her car was towed because she ran out of gas and left it in the middle of the street. No note or anything, mind you. No phone number to call. The police deemed it a hazard to traffic and ordered it to be towed. It happens all the time. She mentions wanting to formally request a hearing with the municipal court to contest the impound. No problem, we can do that. 2 different ways. Actually, option 1 is pay the bill and get an itemized receipt and a hearing form, and take the vehicle. Sending the hearing form in, and at the hearing, explain to the judge the circumstances, and if they decide it shouldn't have been towed, or they want to cut the owner a break, they'll get some or all of their money back. Option 2 is request an expedited hearing. I fill out a form and fax it to the court. They don't get to take the vehicle, but they can get property out of it if needed. 2 business days later, a hearing is held, and they can explain the circumstances to the judge. If the judge finds it in their favor, the court clerk will give the owner a form that directs us to release the vehicle to the owner at no charge. Once they come back to me and give me the form, I release the car and the transaction is done. Here's the thing, she wanted the hearing form, but wanted to take the vehicle without payment. No, not the way it works. She immediately goes from 0 to B in 2.8 seconds, demanding a manager at midnight on a Saturday night, threatening to call the police, please do, and swearing that her lawyer is going to get us shut down. What? And stating that her car had been impounded before, and that was how it was done then. When I was able to get word in edgewise, I explained again. Then she wanted a copy of the company policy. Like, what the frick? Does the company store need a company police to say that you can't take those bananas without paying? Spoiler, it does not. When she realized that I wasn't going to budge, she then told me that I was a bad man and that I was not a godly man. I agreed and said, "Nope, I'm a Satanist." She looked at me like I slapped her and went inside. I presume that she tried calling the police and was laughed at. I had other people to help, so I didn't see her for a while. But when she came back in, I didn't think that she could be in a worse mood, but holy crap, she managed it. I then had to explain and the hearing form procedures over and over ad infinitum with her boyfriend. She kept saying that it didn't make sense, that she was demanding to know exactly how she would get reimbursed. I told her I have never attended one of these hearings, so I don't know how they do things there, and no one ever comes back to tell me. Then I made the mistake of suggesting that she might not be reimbursed, and oh Jesus, that set her off again. The dude finally got tired of her and handed me a debit card just to end the pain. All told, and nearly 4 hours ordeal, the rest of the night was comparatively smooth. Only had one dude come in and try to sell me a speaker for $10. Just one more night until the weekend. TLDR, entitled woman wants her towed vehicle back, but assumes that she can take it without having to pay. Painful hilarity ensues. Yeah, I don't think I'll ever understand anybody in any Karen's thinking of, "Hey, I know this place has this policy in play, but I wonder if I just scream and ask for the manager enough they'll be able to comply and break their policy." No, ma'am, the policy is in there for a frickin' reason. I need for you to do the simple task of reading and basic comprehension. I think she might have seen a little too many of those towing reality shows where people do just that and either get their way or a fight breaks out. I'm done. Happy Sunday, all. Hope you guys are doing well. I need to find about what went down at work yesterday and get advice on what to do when I go back in on Tuesday. It's gonna be a long one, so please bear with me. I have an extensive background in travel and hospitality/customer service. I started working at this property back in early March. There have been ups and downs, but mostly I've been able to enjoy it. I've been as good of an employee that I can be. Almost always on time, usually early to be honest. When I come in, the night auditor is typically out the door no later than 7:05. Almost never call out, and a lot of times stay well after 3 to help out. I've had several good reviews by guests in which they mentioned my helpfulness and friendliness. Never received a single complaint from them, and I get along with my coworkers very well. I'm also trilingual, English, Spanish, and Portuguese, which makes me the main point of contact for HK and some of our guests who prefer communicating in their native tongues. To be honest, y'all, I'm not even getting paid nearly enough to do translating for half of the day when I have 5,000 other things to do. Now, I'm glad to do it because I moved to Brazil a few years ago, and I only spoke the very basics of Portuguese. So, I know how it feels to be the stranger in a foreign land where no one understands you and vice versa. However, if I'm expected to translate and interpret all day, I do think I deserve more than $17 an hour. Anyhow, my boss hired a new AGM about 2 weeks ago. From the get-go, I found her to be very cold and standoffish. At first, I figured, okay, she's new and still settling in. She'll warm up when she's comfortable. But every day when she comes into work, it's always, "Hi, AGM, how are you today?" "Fine." "Good, you look nice by the way. I love your dress, makeup, etc." Genuine compliments. I have to hand it to her that she does dress very well and always looks put together. "Thanks." That's it. Every single day. Now, I understand some people are more reserved, but it doesn't make a good impression on me or other coworkers when all she gives are one-word responses. My real issue, though, is with how she acted yesterday on Saturday. After complaining to my GM countless times about, "Please stop leaving me stranded on Saturday mornings when we are always slammed and I encounter situations that I cannot fix because I don't have the knowledge/authority," so he scheduled her to come in yesterday at 8 a.m., which I felt relieved after at first because I was thinking, thank God, she finally listened and I have some help. Boy, was I mistaken. She showed up at 8, we had our typical uncomfortable exchange, then she goes to the back office, which is where she stayed most of the days. There were many times that she came out to either go to the restroom, get coffee, check on a room, etc., and saw me up to my eyeballs in customers, phone calls, paperworks, and kept walking. At one point, I was on the phone with an insufferable redacted who refused to understand how taxes work. She was relentless, saying things like, "But if the room is supposed to be $170, how does it magically come to $200? Ma'am, you have to consider taxes." What taxes?" "Well, miss, there's city tax, state tax, and lodging tax. If we all add up, the room comes to $200. "But that doesn't make any sense. You're lying to me. How the heck can it be a 170 1 second, and the next second it becomes 200? Isn't that false advertisement?" Mind y'all, I had a packed lobby waiting for me at that point. A housekeeper standing by the desk to the departure report and another call coming in. She walks out, sees what's going on, runs to the other desk phone and says, "You know you can't just leave other people ringing on the phone like that, come on," and aggressively picked up the receiver. She got lucky. Their conversation was, "Do you have a pool?" "No sir, we don't have a pool, sorry." "Okay, bye." And that was that. Then she leaves the desk and goes to the elevator, staring me down from across the room while I'm trying to deal with this woman. Conversation continues, as which, "Ma'am, let me break it down to you. The city tax is this much, the state tax is this much, and the lodging tax is this much. When you add it all together, it makes 200.
Okay, but you still don't make any sense.
"Ma'am, I don't know what else to tell you. I'm reading you exactly what's on my screen. You aren't listening."
I am listening. But you told me originally the room for the tonight was 170, and somehow when you put that all in your little tax calculator, it comes up to 200. How does that make sense?
"Okay, would you like to speak to the manager then? I don't come up with the prices."
No, I just don't know why you have to be have such a freaking attitude. Do you treat all of your customers this way? Because your service skills are awful.
"Ma'am, do you want the manager? Because you're refusing to understand what I am saying."
What's your name? I'm gonna report you to corporate.
"Would you just let me get the manager, please? Because you and I are clearly not on the same page." AGM gets on the elevator and disappears at the moment.
No, I want to know what happened to you when your childhood made you such a beat.
Yeah, I hung up then. AGM returns 5 minutes later while I'm working through the endless line in front of me, and that girl was calling back. As AGM passes by the desk, I said, "Can you please answer her? She wouldn't listen, and I don't have the time to stay on the phone for 20 minutes repeating myself." AGM says, "Fine, I'll take it, but you and I are going to have a little chat later about your phone etiquette." That was absolutely ridiculous. You can't be talking to customers like that. She takes the phone to the back office and disappears for 15 minutes. Also, the day before this, I went ice skating after work and took a bad fall on my left knee. My knee was throbbing all morning, and I told her, "Hey, I went skating yesterday and fell pretty hard on my knee. It's on fire right now, and I'm having trouble moving forward." "Okay, and? So I can't stand for another 4.5 hours on this thing without a knee brace. Can I take my lunch break early and run to the pharmacy to get one?" "Do whatever you want." So I did. We ran out of our water bottle stock a few days ago, and where I live, it is very hot right now. Around 1 p.m., she comes back out of the office with her purse and keys and said, "I'll be right back." "Okay, see you in a bit." I thought that meant that she'd be back in 10 to 15 minutes. Well, half an hour goes by, and I'm drowning in paperwork and customers. I called her, and she didn't pick up. I buzzed the HK manager over the radio and said, "Do you know where AGM it went? She's been gone a while." She told me that she has gone to run some stores across the street and get more waters for the stock. She should be back soon. Another 15 minutes goes by. I call him again. "Have you heard anything? Because I'm dying up here and I need help, man." "No, have you called her?" "She didn't answer the phone." "Oh, well, let me call GM and see if he knows." GM doesn't work Saturdays, so I don't know why he would, but whatever. HK manager calls back a few minutes later. Hey, she said that she's back now and is on her way to the lobby. Another 10 goes and she shows up, conveniently when the rush is finally over, with 2 water bottle cases, and then drops them by the fridge in our sundries shop, for me to stock, of course, and disappears again into the office. Comes out around 2:15 and says, "So, what was it that you needed?" Well, I'm fine now, but the rush is over, but my knee is literally on fire, and I don't know how much longer I can keep going. Okay, well, you're unable to finish the shift, and then you can go. I'll take care of it. Fine, let me finish up what I'm doing and I'll go. She goes back into the office, I finished my paperwork, and clocked out without saying anything to her. I got the hell out of there as fast as I could. I go back in Tuesday, and I'm sure my GM is gonna want me to do the infamous, "Come see in my office, please." Well, to be honest, y'all, I'm over this job, and I'm not gonna put up with being treated like this from her, especially since she's still so new. I'm planning to move abroad and complete my education at the end of the year anyways. So what do I tell them on Tuesday? I'm lost. I'm quitting my job. I was suspended. This is an ongoing situation, so there probably won't be any updates for a while, but I just need to get this off of my chest. Sorry if this is long. So I, 23F, just received a week-long no-pay suspension from a job that I've worked at for 2 years. I work at a hotel that doesn't really play the same rules as normal jobs. If you're late, you don't get fired. Even if you work 40 hours, you aren't written down as a full-time employee because they would have to give out benefits, which they don't. I have worked there for 2 years since I was 21. I've only missed 1 day of work and have never been super late without telling anyone and know about it. And that happens rarely, so probably 4 times in the past. I am a good employee, but not perfect, but I've only called out once, and it was the first year I was there. I didn't feel good enough to drive, and I'm epileptic, so it could have been dangerous driving for 35 minutes. I cover shifts when need be, and help out whenever and wherever I'm asked. This is the past situation. We have a night auditor, F in her 60s, I'm going to refer to her as NA, who is my relief. She is always late, and can be from 5 to 60 minutes late. Always will call to let us know that less than 30 minutes before her shift, or even calling after her shift has started. July 5th, she calls 15 minutes late and says that she just woke up and will be there ASAP. I just say, okay, and she hangs up. She gets to work at 11:55 p.m., and my coworker and I leave without saying a word to her. We were pissed off, tired, and I was hungry. The next night, I am over the situation, but NA was not. She comes in and does not say a word to me. I give her the rundown of the shift, and she just nods. I say I'll see her in 2 days. NA had the next 2 days off. 2 days go by, and NA comes in and does not say anything to me, so I don't say anything to her. If she needed to know anything, it was written down. The clock turned 11, and my shift ended. I clocked out and left without saying a word. Was it petty? Yes, but she had 2 days to get over a situation she started that I had originally gotten over. NA escalated the situation even more. After I leave, I have my 2 days off, and the second day I get a bunch of messages from my other coworkers saying that something happened with NA and it involves me and another coworker. I don't know all of the full details of one part of this, but what I do know, and what has made it even worse, was NA writing this other coworker and OP, "Thanks for being such particular bees. See you in heck." My mouth dropped when I was told this. In my eyes, I see this as a threat and harassment. Therefore, I feel uncomfortable being in the same room as NA. I come in to my shift on the next day, and everything goes by smoothly. Nothing crazy to note, other than our time clock wasn't working, so we had to write our names down. When I saw NA walk up to the door, I write my time down, and once she had walked into the lobby, which she immediately walked into another room right off of the lobby, where she was still able to hear if the door was opened or someone called, I walked out to my car and left. My hands were shaking, and when her car pulled into our parking lot, I was genuinely scared for what was going to happen. Now, today is when the dookie actually hit the fan. I came into work, clock in, sit my stuff down, and the boss calls me into her office and tells me to close the door. Thinking, okay, I can finally tell my side of all of this. Nope, she said that I was getting suspended for a week without pay starting today. This is word for word what the suspension reason was. Guest's complaint about OP speaking negatively about another employee to guest/other coworkers on July 12th. OP clocked out and left the property before ensuring her relief was up to date on evening operations. Summary: OP needs to be more respectful for her coworkers and properly complete all of the job duties. I had my coworker look into the review and had the boss send the picture to me. The review does not mention me by name. The review was posted last month, and the guest stayed 2 months ago. Someone had responded to it last month, so if this suspension was truly about the review, then why wasn't it addressed last month? It's obvious that the suspension is about the situation with NA, so I asked the boss what was being done more about NA. She told me that she couldn't discuss it with me. Okay, but she called me a B, and that I was going to heck? When our schedule was reposted, NA was still on it. As far as I know, the only reprimand that NA received was being yelled at. I've decided that I'm going to quit once I find another job. I've already applied to something closer to me and that has better pay. My mom and other coworker agree that this is ridiculous that I'm the one getting in trouble when she escalated the problem. I doubt that they will fire NA, and if she was going to be suspended, I would have thought they would have at least done it before they did it to me. A tiny update. So, I decided to use this week to go back to my home state. I started talking to my mom about all of this, and had told her about the post. She said that she was highly considering doing something to the extent that all of you are commenting. She is just going to discuss it with her coworkers and maybe her HR to see what they say. I don't think I will give the letter I typed out. I think it was just out of anger. But I think if we do take this situation and further it, it will be good to have a list of the events that happened. I haven't talked to management since this went down, other than to get the review and the suspension paper from them. My mom brought up the idea of me driving back to my home state during the weekends, or something similar, to get a job down there. So once I graduated and moved back, I'll have some kind of stability already set in place. This is to be determined, but I'm hesitant about it. It's a good idea, but this job pays my tuition, groceries, gas, my personal bills, medicine, and other things. So I'm worried if I have a 2-3 a day job in another state, it would be a 2-hour drive. That I won't be able to make those payments or save for first or last month for the apartment once I graduate. My family is fairly well off, so my parents helping me with these things isn't a huge issue. But I've been pretty independent for 2 years when it comes to those things. It feels like if I do that and have my parents help me, that I'd be going in the other direction. I will keep working at the job until we come to a sort of decision on all of this. I might not do a full update for the rest of the week, just so that I can spend some time with my family, but I will try to answer any relevant comments that come in. Thank you for the feedback and the support on this. I really appreciate it. Oh yeah, don't you just love it? Your coworker calls you all these horrible things and you're the one who's getting in trouble. Doesn't this have a wonderful flashback back to grade school and everything? I absolutely love it when, bad things are handled with the utmost lack of courtesy and stuff like that. Hopefully you're able to get a better job and people that actually respect you being there and, all the stuff that you happen to be going through at work, I hope is taken properly cared for. But it seems like with the way that things are, if anything positive is going to be done, it's very much not going to be at your current job. But with that is going to have to be it with the video. If you guys would love to be absolutely amazing, show your support, and see more videos like this one in the near future, be sure to hit that like button, leave a comment down below to start up them wholesome internet discussions. And if you guys have not already, subscribe to the channel and turn on them notifications. And I'll be sure to see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching, and bye-bye!